Welcome to a dose of deeper contemplation. We have cultivated this self-healing practice as we navigate the many aspects of modern life with the desire to be a better human. As a psychic medium, these conversations are channeled, so let's take a walk together and talk it out. What if relationships were about building total trust and it not have anything to do with love? And in this exploration, it's really an understanding that it is the same thing, trust and love. The reason why we were coming into this contemplation is that there's been some internal conversations about the place we're in relationship status, which is selectively single and in a season of celibacy. So it's curious as to why these conversations are coming up around attracting a partner. What would that look like? And there's a part of us who's just like, no, don't want to think, let's not think about that. Because relationships have been, for the most part, at one point, draining. They become draining. Though we learn a lot from these relationships along the way, including our marriage. There's all sorts of constructs of beliefs around relationships, monogamy being one of them, vows of forever being one of them. Sadly, we're still in this discussion around who we can have relationships with, who we can have partnerships with, sadly, though many of us in the queer community are working on that message. So relationships, for the most part, though very amazing and good at first, and it's just not a desired experience right now. And the invitation for ourselves that came forward was that imagine if you started to change the thoughts around what relationships and partnerships can be about and really embody that desire. And what's interesting is that when we do think about attracting a partner, the criteria is like, we ask ourselves all the time, does that even exist? And there's an internal answer that's like, no, doesn't exist. And so if that continues to be the answer, well, that will just be the experience because we don't believe that it's possible. We don't believe that it's possible to happen to come across another being that we have incredible chemistry, that chemistry that just feels so good, energy to energy, attracted is how we feel that. And that it's not attractive based on constructs of who is attractive and not attractive, as we have these quote unquote beauty standards as to who is attractive and who isn't attractive. And that it's simply about a feeling where suddenly, for whatever reason, you can't really take your eyes off of that person and they are seemingly having the same reaction. So chemistry, attraction, present, if we were to offer some criteria, truly understands, has a true understanding of the love of a dom, has the spirit of adventure, knows the power of spontaneity, knows the power of rest, connected to their potential, connected to their prosperity, embodying and living each day with the understanding of incarnation, has sacred space and respects it for themselves and for us. Meaning we will not live in the same home. We will not live in the same space because our space is sacred to our energy, to feeling whole and complete within ourselves, not dependent or reliant or compromised because of anyone else. Who's willing to explore a partnership outside of any narratives, outside of you are free and we are free. There is no ownership. There is simply choice. And that doesn't mean that we have to be together all the time. That space is so supportive to connections because it gives us the time to remain in connection to ourselves. and that we do not become entangled and enmeshed, that in order to feel okay, we must remain in each other's presence in some form. There's not going to be 5 check-in texts each day. There's going to be time and space for us to be in community with others, and it has to feel okay. There has to be security in place, self-secure. So it's not a threat if time and presence is being shared with another, and simply the understanding that the guidance of energy is guiding us to all sorts of places, times, moments, spaces. And it's about following that path. And that doesn't always lead back to the same person every day at the same house every night. So when you go home to, as in the routine, being in the routine, but it can be so supportive to have someone that you go home to, as in the presence of that person is mutually comforting. It feels like a safe space where you can be yourself. To understand that, though, that means you have to be vulnerable and trust that if that person doesn't accept you in your vulnerability and who you truly are, that's not home. If it's toxic in any way, as in toxins don't make us feel good. So detox. The way to understand that is to just be vulnerable. Vulnerability must be present in order for both of us to feel safe, that we are in home. We are in presence, a presence that can offer comfort, that can offer love and healing. And that when you share energy, you can feel rejuvenated. You can feel clarity. You can feel hopeful. You can feel better. We asked a friend recently if he was searching for the one. And he said, I think right now I'm just searching for a companion. And it was very striking because we knew exactly how he felt. That's also the exploration for us right now. A companion that, as this companion and us, we hang out, we spend time together. It's an uplifting experience. And we can take that uplifted, elevated energy and then say, peace, thanks for the hangout. Gotta go be me in the world. We gotta go do us. Why we're here. It doesn't require being your wife or by your side or in service to you and not service to ourselves. It's not that. It's not that. But that your presence and support and love and care for us has uplifted and elevated that energy so that we can go be more impactful in that endeavor to simply just be uplifting and inspiring and hopeful for others, to truly be in service of others and release and expend the energy in the form in which that can come through within however many hours each day, and then rest, come into our own, sleep in our own bed by ourselves. That's what it kind of came forward, like this vision of what that meant when he said the word companion. So perhaps this contemplation has helped us find the clarity as to why this keeps coming up, and to be open to receiving that companion in service to our presence. And simply by destiny, that means that our presence is in service of their presence. And so oftentimes, what most folks just need is for someone to say, not I love you every day. I love you. I love you. I love you. Almost sounds like a question, right? To make sure you're like, you love me too, right? You're saying it back. Love you, love you. Love is. Love is present. It doesn't matter if you have someone to say it to or not. It's not about that. It's potentially so much more impactful for someone to say, I believe in you every day. I believe in you. Or even to just hear, I trust you. Hey, I trust you. Interesting enough, there's a research study done around men, identified men as men, and they were saying that most of them, a higher percentage of these men who were involved in this study, felt more love from someone saying that they respect them than I love you. Respect was more desired than love. Fascinating. Fascinating. So especially as a womb body, Sure. Okay. You love us. Okay, great. It's great. It's a good feeling too. It just adds on to the love that we already feel for ourselves. So that feels good too. What we want to know is, do you respect us? Do you trust us? Do you believe in us? Because if you don't, bye. It's not the frequency. And what's amazing is that can be a very upfront conversation. But as we know, people can say whatever they want to say. What they do is the true revelation. And that will just happen over time. It's interesting because they say you have to kiss a lot of frogs in order to find the one that's revealed to be the prince. What's so interesting is that it seems like we've actually just had to kiss the prince enough times to reveal that he's actually the frog. That will just naturally happen over time through experiences, through what we call red flags. Now that was quite the criteria, but we're just being very vulnerable and honest, which is why the next thing that drops in is that's someone who's like us. Way outside of the paradigms. It's not exactly something that you can completely download and understand in a dating app profile. It's not a search. It's an attraction. And since this is downloading, dropping in, breaking through, our opportunity now is to be willing. Say, okay, trusting this conversation is present. We will perhaps lower, if you will, the walls, the boundaries of the selectively single, and simply invite someone into the field, not us come out of the field and have to navigate all of the narratives. Nope, don't have to do that. Can simply sit and invite that experience. Simply saying we're willing, and we will take the back seat here. And what the manifestations begin to happen to trust that process, which is such a interesting way to understand magic and manifestations in general. And that it's maybe not a love spell that we need or need anything. Let's say that we try. It's a companion spell. What's that like? A companion through our own definition. And in order to really hold that definition in a strong frequency, knowing that that frequency becomes stronger, that is embodying it ourselves, embodying all the things of that shared connection, that partnership, that companionship. Show up in that for ourselves every day, holding the invitation open for that to be supported in whatever way. See the companions. And there's actually already so many in our lives. It's simply a matter of remaining in the frequency, and what is meant to be will manifest. Our co-creation, and the part of that is to guide the energy of what that is. Thank you so much for sharing this time and space and being in this contemplation with us. This is Deep Dose, and we are Eden.